and welcome to the first episode of Two Guys, One Nuclei.
Yes.
I'm Gabriel Friedman, and this is Axel Lewis.
I'm Axel Lewis.
And today, we're going to talk about nuclear energy. So, give a little background information on nuclear energy.
Well, it occurs between one of two processes, one being fission, the other fusion. Nuclear fission is the division of a larger nuclei by bombarding it with neutrons.
And that element is uranium, right?
235, the most common being 238, but we enrich it to get a higher concentration of 235, the fissionable kind.
So, once that's done, once that process is going on, it then heats up water, and that water turns a turbine, which generates electricity.
Transferring mechanical energy into electrical energy.
So now we have that little bit of background information. Let's move on to our topics for the day. So, what are some of the environmental impacts of nuclear energy?
Well, some of the negative impacts include thermal pollution, which we'll get more into, and how it relates to organisms. Hazardous waste. Well, hazardous waste, it's really bad because of the ionizing radiation that can have real adverse effects on organic life. Because, you see, being ionizing, it can knock ions out of cells, causing cancer and other mutations.
But see, within this all, there's also no air pollution, so that's definitely a positive for the environmental factors.
Mm-hmm.
So, you were talking about thermal pollution.
Yes, the thermal pollution, all that extra heated water, although they still try to cool it off, they can't get it significantly cool, so they do release it into the water. And this happens with a lot of industrial processes. That actually speeds up decomposition. Biological oxygen demand shoots up, and evidently, DO, down.
Okay, so what other impacts do you think it has on humans and organisms?
Well,
because one I can think of is, like, in the case of a meltdown, like, when that happens, pretty much everyone that's inside the facility gets hurt. And also, the radiation that leaks out into the surrounding area is super dangerous.
The real issue is the radioactive fallout. Cause a lot of birth defects to the residents.
And some examples of that are just like, Chernobyl, Nagasaki.
3 Mile.
And 3 Mile, yeah, that was the other one.
Nagasaki was the dropping of a nuclear bomb. But, we're still talking, that's still nuclear fission, in fact.
So, what do you think the future that nuclear energy has? Because at the moment, I just know that a lot of people are scared. Like, a lot of people think Chernobyl, and especially with that movie that came out with, like, I think it was a horror movie.
Mm-hmm. The Chernobyl Diaries.
Yeah, I know that people were horrified to have nuclear energy, especially, like, in their city.
But they shouldn't, no. Nuclear reactors actually have far less on-work casualties than do coal mining. And the only real problem with nuclear energy is the radioactive decay, especially with the long half-lives. The half-life of plutonium-240 is 6,600 years. For half of the sample to decay, it'll take that much, and for that smaller sample to decay is another half-life. And with containment, we have entombment where we encase it in concrete to prevent radiation spilling, and decommissioning, we just shut down the plant after 40 years.
Yeah, and meltdowns aren't really that frequent. Are they?
Very rare, very rare. But when they do occur, they do stick in the mind.
But it's like any sort of disaster.
Like NIMBY, they're a big issue right now.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining. Two guys,
one nuclei.